evening. It's 6:30 on Monday, May the 20th, 2019, and I now call the Winton City School Board of Education meeting to order. Please turn your cell phones to silent and then rise with me to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Seymour, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Birdie?
Here.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Here.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Present.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Present. Again, as we work through the agenda tonight, I want to remind our listening audience that once more, all of our work we do follows the SMART goals that's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-sensitive that have been established within the district, which includes student achievement, resource alignment, and community engagement goals. Our first item on the agenda this evening is our district honors, recognitions, gifts, and introductions. I'd like to invite Vice President Mrs. Ruggless, Katrina Ruggless, to take her place at the podium. And Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Wait until she gets there.
Okay.
Our first district's honors, recognitions, gifts, and introductions goes to the Winton Woods Intermediate School Art Gallery winners, and the art teacher is Miss Jessica Sleswick. Is she here tonight? We'll go on with the Superintendent Selection. Angel McMenamy. Okay. If you see these people come in, please let me know so that they can be properly recognized. The superintendent selection, do we have the superintendent selection? And that's done with chalk. Very, very difficult to do for an intermediate student. So it's going to be framed, and we'll save it for her until she graduates from Winton Woods City Schools in about 7 years. Principal selection. Aaliyah Bonner. Yes. Bring up her beautiful art piece, please. Hold it. I met Aaliyah on the playground, and she was showing me her incredible art piece, so thank you very much for taking time out of my busy schedule to drag me and make me watch that and look at that art piece. I appreciate it. Who did you bring with you tonight?
My mom, my grandma, and my brother.
Okay, it's photo time. Family. Come on up. Who inspires your great artistic talent?
It was my old teacher and my family. My old teacher was, art teacher, Mr. Smith. He really did a number on that, and then my family, of course.
Okay, new definition. When you talk about your former teacher, if you don't call him old teacher, just say former teacher, and they'll love you for that. All right? Yes, that is the principal selection. Again, from the Intermediate School Art Gallery, is Ashika Rai here? Ashika. All right, we'll catch her later. From the Winton Woods Primary North School Art Gallery winners, art teacher Miss Katie Lambier. Come on up. Our first superintendent selection is Marian Ortiz Rodas. Is she here tonight? Oh, beautiful. You guys know how hard it is to work with watercolors? All right, where's your family? I know you came with someone. Come on up, family. Picture time. Yes, come on up. Now, people want to know, why do we keep the art pieces until students graduate? Well, we found out some of these art pieces may become famous, and we want our cut. Awesome, beautiful picture. Our next award, same school, Primary North, Anthony Haslin. Is Anthony here tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sure am.
We have his art piece. All right, Mom, get in that picture. The next section is the Honorable Mentions section. There are three Honorable Mention students, but we'll call them one at a time so they can get their proper recognition. Reagan Green. I think Reagan can go into the bracelet business. Did you see that? It's amazing. All right, parents? Family, excuse me. Yes. Is Beavis here tonight?
I have not seen Beavis.
Okay. What about Cheryl Lynn?
Yes.
Cheryl Lynn, come on up. Where's Mom? Dad? A friend of mine had come by and said, you guys give so many incredible awards for art. Is this an artistic, talented, gifted school? And I said, yes. Yes, it is. The Winton Woods Elementary School Art Gallery winners is Miss Mary Grace Taylor here tonight. I was hoping she would come. The first time I judged art at the elementary building, they had 1,500 art pieces for me to judge, and I could only pick one. The Superintendent Selection, Miss Lanaya Hun. Okay. The Principal Selection, Ella Sullivan. Way to go, Ella Sullivan. Mrs. Martin. Is Mrs. Martin here? I'm going to have you come up to help me with these names because they're very interesting. Yes. I'll give you a cheat sheet to work from. It's always good to have that principal around.
I know. Okay. Where is it?
This is the honorable mention. There are actually 3 students.
Izuk Camparian. I don't think he's here. We have Aspire Sui. Not here. And we also have another for Ella Sullivan.
Way to go, Ella. Thank you. Bring that family back up. We keep going. Yes. Yes, we do. Ella? 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 Okay, I know how this works. If you go up there twice, that means that's double the allowance. So there you go. We have you on camera, Mom.
She knew what he meant.
Okay, is there a representative? Oh, yeah, we have to make sure we have those pictures back so we can save them and have them quality framed for many years to come. Do we have them?
Yep.
All right. She is the frame repo woman. That's what she is. All right. So do we have a member from the Kiwanis here tonight? Yes, sir. How are you? So each month, the Kiwanis is very, very gracious to extend their hand and a contribution for key awards. And this one is for perseverance. Is Sean Howard here tonight? Sean. This is written by his teacher, Mrs. Siciliano. What is perseverance? Perseverance is the ability to go on when things seem impossible. It is also a measure of success, or at least how much sacrifice one is willing to make in the name of success. As a student, it is impossible to achieve personal success without having a vision or direction in mind. Perseverance is the ability to forge ahead despite setbacks that may threaten to undermine all efforts to succeed. Sean Howard has set a shining example of perseverance by overcoming many obstacles that he encountered throughout the school day and within the school year. Sean took no shame in falling and accepting the fall, not as a defeat, but as a learning opportunity to rise. He is counted on, but when all he wanted to do was find out a way back to prove he was capable of the impossible. With possible reinforcements, words of encouragement, and an individual flexible schedule, Sean has risen to the top and has proven to be a true Winton Woods warrior. Sean exemplifies respect when working with his peers and teachers, responsibility when following classroom expectations, and trust when communicating his needs or wants using his words. As Sean continues to rise and persevere through his Winton Woods journey, he has many more obstacles to climb. He will meet each challenge as he has throughout the year with courage and a will to succeed. With these qualities at the forefront, there's no limit to what Sean will achieve in the future. Congratulations, Sean Howard. We're so proud of you. Way to go, Sean. Eric Fomkong. Is he here tonight? Yes, finally, Eric. Finally, Eric. Eric, we first started trying to give you this award in 2015, sir. All right, so a little bit about Eric. He's a graduating senior headed to Mount St. Joe to study science. He is meeting with advisors at Mount St. Joe to determine if he will pursue pharmacy, physical therapy, or other science-related fields. Eric recently traveled with Mr. Amsted's PCAP class to visit Old Dominican University in Capital. Eric was the leader of these visits because he asked multiple insightful questions at both universities. Eric is inquisitive, energetic, and full of questions. He is always inquiring about future plans and trying to determine what exactly he will choose to do for a career. He has maintained a 2.9 GPA and is ranked in the top 70th of his senior class. This is from John Beischel, Winton Woods High School counselor. Eric, since we've been waiting for you for several months, we'd like for you to say a few words.
Well, I'm just thankful to get this award. I couldn't make it to the first one because I had work. I actually had work today, so I just came right off of work. But I'm grateful. I really like to ask a lot of questions because earlier today I actually went to the doctors because of my allergies. They've been acting up, and then like you see all these people come in. I was just asking a bunch of questions because I really don't know what I want to do, but I know it's something to help. So yeah.
Absolutely. So for those of you who know that graduation is tomorrow, and Eric will be part of that graduating class, when he asked, did he have to come tonight, I asked, did he want to come tomorrow night? And he says, of course I do. Our next recipient is Junior Ortiz. Is Ms. Goins here? Ms. Goins, why don't you come up? It is with great pleasure to recommend Junior Ortiz as Kiwanis Student of the Month. Junior is a senior at Winton Woods High School. Junior is an above-average student who works very hard to be successful. He is originally from Guatemala and came to this country at age 5. He moved into our district at age 7. I've known Junior since he entered the high school as a freshman. He entered and has remained a student in the Academy of Global Studies. Junior is quiet, yet serious student. As a 9th and 10th grade student, Junior is very concerned about his academic path. He would check with me frequently to see how he was doing in his classes, to make sure he was taking the courses that were best for him. Junior serves as a translator for his mom and other family members. He also spends almost every Thursday afternoon, this is amazing, every Thursday afternoon from 3:15 to 4, working with one of our special needs students, teaching him how to read. That's amazing. It is a double challenge because the student's native language is not English. Oftentimes I hear Junior translating in the student's native language and then translating words in English. I am fortunate to hear Junior teach and give helpful hints because they work together outside of my office. I know the student being helped looks forward to getting the help from Junior because he is always early for his help session and waits patiently for his teacher. Junior became a band student in 7th grade. It says that you became a band student, Junior, but what instrument do you play?
Trumpet.
Trumpet. Excuse me. Whew. Trumpet. He has been in the awesome Winton Woods marching band for all 4 years. His band teacher, Miss Ashbrook, says that Junior has really stepped up as a leader his senior year. She says she has been very impressed with his improvement in playing this year. His physics teacher, Mr. Simon Wasilewski, says that Junior is a very inquisitive kid who pushes learning forward and is always adding some fun to the learning environment. With that being said, Junior participated in the Tech Olympics, with Coach C this year. How many of you guys remember Junior from last month? Oh, I do. All right. The project also inspired Junior that he is planning on pursuing an associate degree in information technology at UC. Besides being a translator and a band member, Junior is a soccer player. He has been a member of the soccer team for 4 years. Being out on the soccer field or playing video games is where you might find Mr. Ortiz. I know Junior will excel at UC, studying information technology, and I wish him the best as he embarks on his next chapter, and that is written by his incredible counselor, Ms. Kim Goins. Come on up, family. So, Junior, you're in a band, you're on a soccer team, you work in the Tech Olympics. Wow, amazing.
It's a lot sometimes.
Our next recipient is a Skyline Student Athlete of the Month, Ernest Wilkie. Ernest is an 11th grade student with a nice, smooth 4.0 GPA. This is from his incredible baseball coach, Mr. Jack Schramm. Mr. Schramm. It says it was written from his coach. Are you his son? Are you his friend? Okay. All right. So this does say Mr. Hadaya. Thank you, sir. Ernest Wilkie is an amazing example of what we want to see from our individual student athletes in the baseball program. First in the classroom, Ernest is an exemplary student with a 4.0 GPA and scoring a minuscule 31 on the ACT. All right. That's incredible. Wow. Ernest is an exemplary student. Second, as an athlete, he pushes himself to do his best in multiple sports, involving himself in both wrestling and baseball. On the baseball field, we've seen Ernest mature as a catcher and hitter over the past 3 years, with him taking every opportunity to improve himself. This season, through our first 15 games, he is hitting .310, .408, and .357, and has thrown out 6 runners as our primary catcher. He is a leader on and off the field, and we're excited to see the accomplishments that will come from him during his continued commitment to excellence. This is from his wrestling coach, Mr. Brian Gelter. Ernest is a great student athlete and puts great forth effort into both school and wrestling. Ernest is always willing to give his best in his skills and techniques. Ernest does not complain and always gives his best effort on the wrestling mat. So to be nominated for the Skyline Student Athlete of the Month, students must maintain an academic standard of 3.0 or higher, show respect for coaches, teammates, officials, teachers, and other students and family, show enthusiasm and a positive attitude, display commitment to practice, games, and personal skill development, demonstrate honesty and playing by the rules, have high moral character. The Skyline Student Athlete of the Month is sponsored by the Forest Park Skyline Chili Restaurant, a business partner of Winton City Schools. Student athletes are honored to receive a Skyline gift card. Thank you for everything, Ernest. This is amazing. So why don't this family come on up? Come on up, Mom. Absolutely. Ernest, I didn't want you to sit down so quickly. You want to say a few words? Okay. Excellent. All right. Our next recipient is Kelly Kennedy, teacher. It is with great pride that I nominate Kelly Kennedy for the District Educator of the Month. Professionals like Kelly are hard to find. She not only is an excellent teacher, diligently planning her lessons to target specific students' needs, but she also is an amazing adult team member. When I think of Kelly, I think of a person who gives her all each and every day. As the EL lead teacher of our building, she's in charge of 158 students while also managing the instructional activities of the 2 tutors that work under her. Kelly never has a second of downtime. She is constantly working with students, and she humbly does it all, never asking for recognition while never complaining or speaking a negative word. Kelly loves her students. Not only does she work with them during the school day, but for many years, she has also spent time working at the after-school Hispanic tutorial program at the local church in Forest Park. When Kelly sees that one of the students has a need, she takes the initiative to stand in the gap and find a way to help that student out. She also has proactively begun to learn Spanish in order to support her students while also taking time to learn more about our growing Nepali community. She is the type of person that you want on your team. She truly will volunteer to help anyone out at any time. She can be counted on to be at the school every day, ready to work with her students, and to be the type of person that is always looking to ways to improve. She has a growth mindset that models the type of performance character that you would want for any employee to have. Kelly Kennedy is a highly skilled EL teacher who greatly enriches the lives of her students and greatly adds to our school instructional team. She is an excellent candidate for this award. Signed, Mr. Kevin Jones. Anybody come with you tonight?
Say that again?
Did anybody come with you
I do,
tonight?
actually, yeah.
Come on up.
These are my 2 youngest children. So.
Wow. Okay. We have great parents, we have great teachers, we have great students. Is Melanie Brooks here tonight? Amazing. So if you notice from previous board meetings, her daughter keeps coming up getting awards, and Mom says, well, when can I get mine? So now it's your turn. We would like to nominate Melanie Brooks, parent of senior Maya Johnson. In addition to being a soccer mom and track mom, Melanie has also shown her support while working the athletic concession stands for football and basketball games. Somebody loves her. She is willing to do whatever is needed or asked to do, even filling in for last-minute requests. Melanie doesn't wait to be asked. She calls to offer her time because she knows there's a great need. Melanie is a great example of parents that rise to the occasion and definitely deserves the Extra Mile Parent Award from our athletic director, Mr. David Lumpkin. So, Mom, while we have you on camera, do you have all of your children are graduating, or we still have some left?
My last one is graduating this year,
Tomorrow?
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
So we would like for you to formally give us your commitment that you will stay with us for another 10 years.
I'll do that.
Okay, so right here on camera. All right. Everybody, witness another 10 years. Thank you very much for your commitment, Mom. Appreciate it. Is Leah Alexander here tonight? Leah. Hello. Now, this is an exceptional award, the Congressional Art Competition. Leah Alexander was the winner of this competition and was one of the 20 finalists out of 135 art pieces submitted for the Representative Steve Shabbat's Congressional Art Competition for the 1st District of Hamilton County and Warren counties. Her artwork will be framed and hung in Steve Shabbat's Hamilton County office for the 1st District. Wow, amazing. Who came with you tonight?
This is my boyfriend.
Oh, we know this guy. Hey, how are you, sir? Come on up. Miss Jackson, do me a favor. Do it at an angle in case this doesn't work out, okay? Then we have just one section, all right? You know how it goes, folks. All right, there you go. Amazing. Are both of you guys graduating tomorrow? Are both of you guys graduating tomorrow? 2 graduates. Way to go.
All right.
Okay, so this next award is the Artist Reaching Classroom, better known as ARC. And Tiana Allen was the winner of an iPad Pro, and Aris Ferry was a winner of a $200 Amazon gift card. Are they here tonight? Okay, we'll come back. I had the pleasure of sitting in a competition, a actual incredible project-based learning competition. It's called the House Divided Project, and I was invited to be one of the moderators on the panel, and it was the most incredible, inspirational activity that I've been part of. And I'd like to have Mr. Brennan Graham, New Tech Coach, Mr. Matt Allender, Miss Ashley Brand, Miss Stephanie Metz, Miss Anna Owens, Mr. James Reister, and Miss Kelly Roselle from the 8th grade ELASS teaching team. I'd like for you guys to come up. So, Ms. Rutledge, you attended the event as well. Can you just give a few words of what you thought?
Yes, absolutely. So when Miss Roselle called me or sent me a message and said, could you be a part of this project? I said, oh, no problem. I'll be there. And I was surprised and blown away. Surprised because I didn't realize that the 2 teachers that were up front looked like my children, so that threw me off a little bit. But I was blown away about the project, because this was my first time experiencing project-based learning, being a part of it. And it blew me away to know the depth that the students had to research and then share their information out. And I'm going to be honest with you, at first I did not read her email, but when I got there and the way that they rolled it out, I got a little nervous because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer these questions because they were very profound and very thought-provoking and difficult to some. It made me think. And so I was blown away because the way that these students carried themselves in this project really was at the 10th, even the college level. I was very blown away by this project, so kudos to you all. Thank you.
You know how some students try to get away from work? Having the chance to talk with the teachers, they mentioned that the children were so eager, they wanted to be on the panel, which is very, very inspirational. So I need someone to tell us a little bit about what inspired you to do the House Divided.
As 8th grade teachers, we cover American history, and a big part of what we do is the American Civil War. And we noticed that when we were going through history, it's really easy to get really defeated with how America came to be and with the ways that we treated different groups of people. So we wanted to have an opportunity for our students to do something positive with the learning, because the American Civil War is a really hard piece of history to learn, a very hard piece of history to teach honestly and completely. So we acted as reconcilers in this community forum so that our students had an opportunity to look at their communities and to figure out how to close the divides that exist and move forward together. So that's what happened.
It was very, very incredible. All right, anybody else? She said it. She said it all.
Well, I'm going to say one more thing, because what you said is so important, because I remember as a child growing up talking about American history and how it made me feel. So being able to experience this and see the young people see it in a positive way, in an empowered way, was awesome. So,
8th grade audience was incredible.
yes.
Your speakers, your presenters, Everybody was really, really on point. They did an excellent job, and we were very impressed, and that's why we wanted to honor you tonight. So thank you for your hard work and dedication.
Thank you. I brought my family.
Come on.
Wait.
Everybody who brought the family, the whole family can come up. Anybody, everybody.
Misha?
Misha, come on.
Any of these kids here?
Brought my school family. This is the video.
She gone.
For anyone in the audience, look how beautiful that looks. If this is not your family and you want to be part of it, you can get in there. We'll find out. Incredible. So this next recipient is from a April recognition. However, her schedule was she was so busy, she couldn't make it. And we were able to catch her walking through the hallway this evening and told her it's awards night. So we'd like to have the Philanthropy Club April recognition, Miss Kathy Gray. Ms. Gray, take a few minutes and tell us about the Philanthropy Club.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kathy Gray. I'm the technology teacher here at Winwoods. The Philanthropy Club actually birthed from a dream they had about 5 or 6 years ago. There was a young man in this city who's 67 years old, who has a lot of money, no family, but willing to give away money. The problem is finding people to give it to. So we decided to do the Philanthropy Club here, and we took it on. And so far, we've given away $2,200 of his money. And he's willing to give it to us again for the 3rd year. So this year, we will walk in with $3,200.
Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, how many of you ever started a program from scratch, which means it didn't exist and you had to build it yourself? All right, a lot of nuances, a lot of consequences could go. Things could go really good or go really bad. I'd like to have the inaugural boys baseball team. Is Mr. Jack Sram here tonight? That's Jack. So a little bit about why you did it.
Okay, so I went to Winton Woods all my life. So I graduated in 2017, and I played baseball since I was probably 2 years old, maybe 3. So I've always been a big baseball fan. And one day I was in class, I go to UC, one day I was in class and my mom forwarded me an email from somebody, I forget who it was, somebody in the administration. And they said they were looking for a baseball coach for the middle school. They were starting up a program. So the second I got it, I was like, I'm into that. So I applied right away. And then Jeff Merrill called me and said that I was probably going to get it. And I was really excited about it. And the year went really good. We didn't play a lot of games. We played 6 games. Hopefully next year it'll be a little bit more. But it was a really good year. I think we only had we had 14 kids on the team and probably like 21 tryout. And there were, I think, only 2 guys on the team who had played baseball before.
Right.
And by the end of the year, they all played like they had played for several years. So everybody on the team growed, even the ones who you wouldn't think would grow a lot. Everybody on the team growed. Everybody got better. There wasn't a single kid on the team who didn't get better. So it'll be exciting again next year for sure.
Thanks for your great coaching, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. So for many years, we've been competing in baseball, and it was only grades 9 through 12. And one of the things that we figured out, how do our kids get to compete in a more global or broader scale unless we introduce the sport to them earlier? And Jack came up to the plate and made it really happen, because now our kids get the experience of 6 years as opposed to 4. And it's not just about the participation, it's about the camaraderie and the fellowship and all the other things that go along with it. Plus, college coaches like to come around. So if we can get a few scholarships out of it, Jack, you'll be on the poster next to me. All right, there you go. All right, is Coach C here tonight? All right, Coach C was, each year, every district celebrates the Educational Excellence Educator of the Year Award, and Coach C was our unanimous winner, and he was recognized at the Sharonville Convention Center several weeks ago. So if you see him, give him a nice pat on the back. Coach C made us proud. All right. So is Mr. Doctor here? All right. You know what that means, Mr. Denny. Come on up. So most of you, when you were going to school, you had a cafeteria worker. It was called a cafeteria worker or a cafeteria planner. Well, we are very, very proud because we have a cafeteria chef. No, that's not the chef, all right? But the chef is Mr. Mark Doctor. And we'd like to extend our welcome and our appreciation, Ohio School Breakfast Challenge Champion of Breakfast Award. Mr. Mark Doctor, congratulations to Mr. Doctor for winning this award for his exceptional work in advancing school breakfast at Winton Woods Middle School. He was honored at the OSBC Spring Stakeholders Luncheon in Columbus, May 10th. Winton Woods Elementary School was one of only 11 winners of the Championship of Breakfast Award in the state of Ohio. Very good. Way to go, Mr. Doctor. So, Mr. Denny, why don't you tell a little bit about this bus that's going to be riding around in the city?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Yeah, so we will be seeing the return of the Nutrition is the Mission Wellness Bus. It is going to deliver to 5 stops in the community this year during the summer. Also on Saturday, which is new for this year. So one of the things that gets us out of bed in the morning is feeding kids, and this is another way to continue to do that. It's at no cost to any of the residents here in the community or any of the children or families that participate. And there are 5 stops scheduled, so soon you can look for a published schedule of times and stops. If that's something that you can spread the word about, we'd appreciate it. And thank you for the award on behalf of Mr. Doctor. If he were here, he would say thank you, and it's a team effort, is I think what else he would say. So.
And for the members of my team, how many of you plan on riding that Nutrition is the Mission bus as it tours the city? Look around. Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So our last award goes to an incredible, incredible lady. This is the Community Spirit Award and is given to Dr. Monica B. Swope. This award is presented to an organization or individual to recognize their significant contributions to the Winton Woods City School District over a period of several years. Dr. Swope, has an incredible office, maybe 50 yards from the intermediate building. She is an incredible dentist. She brings beautiful smiles. So if you've got that nutrition bus traveling around with beautiful smiles and Dr. Swope is kind of traveling behind it, making sure all the kids are healthy and excited, hint, hint, I think this could be an incredible, incredible relationship. So thank you, Dr. Swope. Dr. Swope looks much taller when she's drilling on you, by the way. All right, family members, anyone? No one came tonight?
3 college students that are taking summer classes, and my husband's playing racquetball.
All right, way to go. And I'd like to say something, and I know she'll appreciate it. Go Buckeyes.
Did you see the phone case? You saw the phone case. Turn the phone case around.
Oh, okay, I know what it was. Madam President and Vice President and board members, that's it for the recognitions and gifts.
Wow. That is amazing. We thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you, Mrs. Rutledge and Superintendent Smith. And congratulations to all of our award recipients, students, teachers, community partners. Your dedication to the district is, it doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate your efforts and sacrifice in serving our district. We will now take a 5-minute recess so that we can congratulate you, and that you can, those that don't want to stay for the remainder of our meeting can, dismiss themselves. So, 5-minute recess. We'll now resume our regular board meeting, and the next item on the agenda is 4.01, public comments, and I didn't get any papers for public comments, so we'll move on to 5.01, which is the Winton Woods Teachers Association representative, and I do not see a representative here from the WWTA this evening. So the next item on our agenda is 5.02, the Ohio Association of Public School Employees. All right, yes, please, you have the floor.
Yes, my name is Bruce Hodge, and I'm representing for OPSI. The president couldn't make it because her son is at her and her son is at an event. So I'm just representing for OPSI.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for coming tonight and representing. Oh, and you're retiring this year, at the end of this school year? Oh, well, congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Hodge. We appreciate you coming out tonight and representing the OPSI for us, and enjoy your retirement. You plan on doing anything special?
Working for Winton Woods, 'cause I went to school in this district when it was Green Hill Sports Park.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for my school counselor, I wouldn't have this job.
Okay. Well, thank you. We thank you for your service. We thank you for your service. All right, very good. The next item on the agenda is 6.01, the approval of minutes as presented. Board, unless you see any necessary changes to these minutes, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any questions, or are there any questions or discussion regarding them? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie? Aye. Dr. Cupoletti? Aye. Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. Very good. The motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is 7.01, which is the treasurer's report, financial statements for April 2019. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, before you, you have the treasurer's report through April 30th of 19. Our total year-to-date revenues are $44.7 million. Our revenues for the month of April were $2.5 million, and in that was the final real estate settlement. Our total expenditures in the general fund for year-to-date are $42.6 million, and we are currently running about 6.8% under budget, which is right about where we were last year at this time. And with that is the summary of the financial reports. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I might also point out that the general fund had an unencumbered balance of $19.3 million, the building fund $9.4 million, and our classroom facilities project of $50 million. That's
Thank
going
you.
to start dwindling, I think, if you look
Yeah.
outside.
Yes, as we start using it. Thank you, Mr. Seymour. With no objections being heard, let's let the financial statements for the month of April 2019 be submitted for audit. The next item on the agenda is 8.01, the treasurer's recommendation of the investments for April 2019.
Yes, Board, for the month of April, we had $91 million invested. We earned $215,000 in interest, 46 for the general fund and around 169,000 for the building fund.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion is in order to approve.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the investment report as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Sure. Mrs. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti? Aye. Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 8.02, which is the amended appropriations for fiscal year 2019. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, I'm asking the board to adjust some appropriations for our special trust fund. I'm asking to go from 52 million to 64 million. The main reason for this was additional funds received for student travel. This is the fund where all of your student expenditures and revenues go through for travel. Also, under other grants, we received additional funds for our Ready Schools. This is a grant that Mrs. Denny works with, and we received additional funds through Fund 19. Also, Dr. Holden wrote and received 2 grants for this year. Ohio School Climate Grant for $15,000 and School Quality Improvement for $60,000. And basically, it gets a little frustrating for both us and Dr. Holden. They award the grant and then they tell us we have to have it spent by June 30th. So obviously, we have to get permission from the board to appropriate these funds, receipt these funds, so that she can get ready and spend them. I think she left, but it does get hard when the state starts these grants so early in the year, and then they just awarded them. We just received notification of award, so. With that, I'm asking for a total increase in the total appropriations of $99,100. And then, of course, I will submit the certificate of revenue to the county auditor for the appropriation adjustment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Seymour. We need a motion, board, to approve the amended appropriations for the fiscal year 2019.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to accept the amended appropriation for fiscal year 2019.
Thank you. It's been motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion?
I have a clarification.
Yes, please.
There was a verbal, I think it was just a small verbal mistake.
Oh.
52 million when it's 52,000 for the special trust fund.
Yeah, 52,000, my apologies.
Say my paper says 52 million, 2 seconds.
52,000 to 64,000.
52 million. Central office comes alive.
Yes.
Actually, it's just for student trips.
Oh, lots of
I'd like
these.
to,
You
add
know
one
those
other
3 numbers, the 3 extra zeros, they start to add up.
Board, I'd like to place this back on the agenda, not the amended appropriations, the whole thing, but I'd like to place this back on the agenda for next month so Dr. Holden can give you an overview of why we selected these grants and what the real full intent would be. So if the board is okay, I'd like to have it come back next month so she can give you some detailed descriptions of how the money's going to be utilized.
That'd be good.
Yes.
Yes, that's fine.
But
Thank
you're
you.
talking about just the description, not the voting
not
part of
the
it?
vote,
Okay, okay.
All right, I'm just making myself a note here, please.
I just want to appreciate that the extra work and energy to go after funds that are free and grants and so forth that are incredibly valuable to our district and just show good stewardship of our administrators and staff on wanting to seek out free monies so that to advance our schools and our students' opportunities. So thank you for that hard work.
All right, hearing nothing else, would you call the vote, Mr. Seymour?
Sure. Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. Yes, the next item on the agenda is 8.03, the five-year forecast.
Yes, each, as you know, each year in May, you can update your forecast if you think there are items which become significantly material to impact it. I don't know that we have significant items material to impact it, but I'm asking the board to update it in the fact that that you are aware, if you watch the funding for schools in the state of Ohio, we had what was called the Cup-Patterson proposal, which was going to change how the schools were funded. That's been kind of slated for committee work, and the governor's proposal is right now passed by the House and moved on to the Senate and is in Senate hearing, and it looks like that is the proposal that we will be working with at least for the next 2 years. In that proposal, the governor froze funding for schools. For the current year, you will get the same each year after, and it will not even, I listened to a webinar today, and if we would grow in 10 districts that are going to grow in ADM, would not even see additional funds for those ADM students. The governor is proposing student wellness and success funds. And for Winton Woods, that would be around $760,000 for this coming year and around $920,000 for the succeeding year. That is possibly good news and bad news at the same time, because as you know, we were what was called a gap district. We were capped, and we were currently being $3 million underfunded in our forecast, and we had projected a 3% increase in the life of our forecast. I've incorporated the governor's proposal into the forecast, and then I also have, as we have discussed, I have incorporated a new levy into the forecast to begin January of 2021 at 6.95 mils. So this would more or less be the first forecast that you would have adopted, more or less announcing that it is your financial plan to seek a levy during that time frame. That doesn't mean it's, as you know, there's legal resolutions you have to adopt. This doesn't mean you can't change this. It doesn't mean you can't change the amount. This is just a recommended amount as we continue to financial plan and submit our 5-year forecast to the state for May. This could look totally different when we get ready to do it again in September, late August or September. The state funding could have totally taken a different direction by then. But this is the best knowledge we would have for right now. So with that, I'm asking the board to adopt the amended 5-year forecast to submit to the state.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion is in order to approve this resolution.
Madam President, I will make a motion to approve the 5-year forecast as revised for fiscal year 2019.
Second?
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions for discussion? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
And Dr. Johnson?
Aye. Okay, that vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the resolution for the 5-year financial plan. Mr. Seymour kind of alluded to it. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Here I'm asking the board.
Well, could I read it before
Yeah,
you?
I'm just going to ask the board,
Okay,
if,
go ahead.
at their pleasure, if this is a resolution we've been discussing. It kind of outlines where we've been financially, what we're looking to do financially in the future, and to help guide us on a financial plan.
Okay, I'm going to read this, this resolution just for the sake of the official being on the camera, and then board will entertain a motion for this resolution. Resolution for the 5-year financial plan. Whereas on the 20th day of May 2019, the Winton Woods Board of Education approved and adopted a 5-year forecast on for the general operating fund budget forecast targeting limits on expenditure growth, and whereas the Winton Woods Board of Education will monitor the use of parameters on expenditures as set by this resolution and continue utilization of these parameters through fiscal year 2023, 2022, and 2023 school year, and whereas the Winton Woods Board of Education has not requested an additional tax levy for operations since 2009, which is currently a 10-year span since a request for additional taxes for a day-to-day operations of our schools, and whereas the Winton Woods Board of Education has passed a $4.2 million substitute operating levy on November the 6th, 2018, which did not increase taxes, and has committed that the current funding will last 2 years, and whereas the Winton Woods Board of Education will be proposing a new levy for collection in fiscal year 2021, currently estimated at 6.95 mills, for an increase of approximately $3.2 million, which would be the first request for an increase in taxes for 12 years. And whereas at Winton Woods, resources will be aligned to meet district goals and objectives, and all financial decisions will consider the impact on student achievement. Therefore, the Winton Woods Board of Education resolves to: 1, utilize financial parameters; 2, continue its commitment in academic excellence; 3, evaluate the conditions of its facilities to maintain the community's investment in them, as well as the need for technology, infrastructure, and equipment to provide tools to teach the adopted curriculum aligned to project-based learning for the Winton Woods students. And furthermore, the Winton Woods Board of Education resolves to commit to new financial parameters as follows. The Winton Woods General Operating Fund budget targets will no more than an average of a 2% growth of the budget for fiscal year 20 through fiscal year 24. The growth measures will be all expenditures with the exception of the negotiated personnel salary increases. Deviations from these parameters must be approved by the board action. Now, board, a motion would be in order to approve this resolution that I just read.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the 5-year financial plan as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions for discussion?
Not so much questions, but just comment. I think the,
Yeah.
key points here to understand that it's been, as of now, it's been 10 years since there's been any increase in operating levy dollars for the school district. And at the time, we're looking at potentially doing this in 2 years. It will have been a 12-year span that there's not been an increase in operating funds for the school district. And I think, hopefully for anyone outside looking at this, they recognize that this resolution means that we take this very seriously and our responsibility to be financial stewards of what's going on in the school district and trying to do the best things that we can for our taxpayers. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Birdie. Very well stated.
I believe that the state has not kept up with our needs. And for that reason, we have to act locally to ensure the high quality of education that our students receive.
Great point, Dr. Capoletti.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Capoletti. Anyone else? Seeing no more comments or discussion, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Sure. Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Capoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Rutledge?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. That would bring us to the next item on our agenda, 9.01, reports of the superintendent, and his first report is school reports. So, Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board, there are several exciting activities that are happening. And the first one that we should all remember to recognize, 7:30 p.m. promptly, the Winton Woods High School graduation at the Cintas Center at Xavier University. May 23rd, last day for students, teacher, administration. There's going to be a celebrity softball game. Come and enjoy it if you want, but beware. You don't know how that's going to turn out. Last day for teachers, which is also our official Records Day, is May 24th. Memorial Day, May 27th. And for our parents out there who are considering Winton Woods City Schools, our first open enrollment ends on May 30th. Report card distribution is May 31st. Summer school begins on June 3rd. And the Nutrition is the Mission free mobile meal bus begins breakfast and lunch served at the intermediate building as well. And then a glorious parade on June 22nd, the Green Hills Parade featuring the Winton Woods High School Marching Band. Those are some of the upcoming school events and activities.
Very good. Thank you, Superintendent. The next item on the agenda is 9.02, which is a facilities update. Usually Mr. Denny takes care of this for you, but Superintendent Smith, you and Mr. Denny have the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, and good evening, Board. So if I might, while Mrs. Denny brings up the update for facilities for this month, I'll just hand out a hard copy as well, so you've got that right in front of you.
Thank you, sir.
So, but do you mind going back one? Just a quick comment. Have you had a chance to see these beautiful young people from Primary North? Anyway, let's love that photo. So, again, if you navigate to the bottom of our webpage at www.wintonwoods.org, our district's homepage, there's a Creating Opportunities construction update. And I'm pleased to report that the projects, both projects, the K6 in Green Hills and the 712 in Forest Park, continue to be on schedule and also on budget. So we're pleased to see that. In fact, they've made tremendous progress. If you scroll down just a little bit, you can see those are two aerial shots. And I'll share a couple more aerial shots with you just for fun this evening to show you how much progress was made between April and May. And then we'll look at the update, if we could, and see how much progress has been made in the month of May so far. We're about 2/3 of the way through the month, and of course you have it in front of you as well. But this is viewable for anyone who has interest to have weekly updates on the progress of the buildings. You can actually see walls. They are about 12 feet high at the K6. And again, what they're doing is working in the gym spaces in the core, because those are very big box spaces, they call them, large volume spaces, and then they work their way out from there so as not to traffic over the things they've already built. So they're going to build the building from the inside out. And this is the quick update on the 712. Footers are actually almost completely done at the 712. And then, of course, they're putting load-bearing block walls up now at the 712, and you can see those going up. They're just barely, one's just barely ahead of the other. The K6 has actually almost caught up to the 712. They were about a week behind, not behind schedule, but just a week behind the 712. The K6, you can see the enclosed gymnasium. If you could just scroll down just a bit. Thank you so much. The K6, you can see the enclosed gymnasium. They've built scaffolding around it, and so they're working on that. So it's great to see. If you could go to the photos. Just a couple more handouts for you. This first one is April. It's an aerial shot, and these are taken from the same angle. I'll explain this again. And this is May. So there are two of them, and they're both front and back. So this is just a bird's eye view. Every month, the CM company, the construction management firm, charters a flight to go over both construction sites, and they take photos. And we'll post these to the website like you've seen periodically as well. And then one of the things I was working on is just time-lapsing. But from November until March, not a whole lot to see. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of work going on, but it was all below ground. So if you could find the photo that looks like the one displayed here on the overhead. This is the K6 in April. This was taken April 1st. No April Fools. And then if you find the other one side by side, you should be able to find the same view of the K6 1 month later, and it looks like this. And you should be able to set those side by side. I hope that was the intent, is that you'd see K6, April and May side by side, and then if you flip them over, you could see 7-12 side by side, April and May. And hopefully you can see the radical amount of progress that's been made in such a short amount of time. That kind of progress is to be expected from all the schedules I've reviewed and the conversations and meetings I've been in, because it takes forever to get out of the ground. And once you make it up out of the dirt, that's when you'll start to see a lot of progress. So if you've been getting questions about what is happening and why isn't this moving, it has been, but it's going to be much more visible now. So
based on your information and the meetings that you've attended, are we on schedule?
on schedule and on budget.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited to report.
On schedule and on budget are
Yes.
two lovely things
Yes.
that we
They
love to
sound
hear.
awfully good.
Yes.
Much better than any alternative thereof.
Yes,
So.
absolutely.
Uh,
And you're right, for a month worth of work, I mean, even when you drive down, you know, like Kemper Road, you can see the difference. But today, when I went to the graduation rally, was the first time I'd been over to the middle school area, and I was like, wow, I mean, I had seen it when it was like the April view, and then I was like, wow, I see walls. When you see walls, that's something to get excited about.
Yeah, it's,
You know?
you can actually,
What's really interesting is to see the time span from the groundbreaking ceremony to right now.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
huge.
Oh, yeah,
One shovel.
it's really cool.
and these are very, very large buildings by any educational standard, if not any standard in general in our country. So 245,000 square feet for the 712 and 206,000 square feet for the K6. So they're big. But, thank you so much for the opportunity to share this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very exciting, very exciting. Of course, this is just informational for us to keep us informed on the progress, and we really do appreciate you bringing this to us, Mr. Denny, in such a visual fashion, you know, those of us who are visual learners. Okay, but it's very good. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. The next item on our agenda is 10.01, which is the personnel schedules, and Superintendent Smith will go to you for that.
Yes, Madam President and Board, the recommendation is to approve Schedule A, resignations, Schedule B, personal employment certificated, Schedule D, personal employment certificated and non-certificated, and finally, it would be the summer school schedule. Those are the recommendation, and then, I'm sorry, the final is Schedule E leaves.
All right, Board, a motion would be in order to approve these personnel schedules.
Make a motion to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion regarding these personnel schedules?
I do
Oh, go
have one
ahead,
question.
please.
On the employment, the Schedule B of the certifications, and some are pending, and I know that we do point that out, and we want to make sure all of our teachers are certified. Does that get put on the next meeting, or when they are
Yes.
updated?
So if you look at, the Ohio Revised Code says that a teacher can be pending for several months. And so these teachers, these particular individuals have applied for their license. The Ohio School Board, or Ohio, the state, excuse me, has said that they will be receiving the license, but you can imagine you've got how many thousands of teachers trying to get licensures at the same time. There are no particular issues with these other than their impending status, means that they will be approved. However, if they are not approved by our designated time, then we will have to move on with other candidates. So
And
we will not be in that
That is up to
situation.
a year, right, Mr.
Yes,
Smith? That they
yes.
can, for teachers, that they can
Right.
stay in that.
It's,
pending
there are no pending issues suggested for anything other than teachers. So let's keep that in mind. And these are all people that have degrees, bachelor's degrees from Waynesburg, Bowling Green, University of Kentucky, and Grand Canyon. and we're just waiting for them to get their information.
Sure, and then does it go back on the schedule to show that they got the valid, the
This will go
certification?
back on the schedule again, so you guys would be able to see their certification and when that date and when it expires.
Okay.
So it doesn't just go in a blank slate like, okay, they have it now. You need to see when they have it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
But we're voting on them to
Sure.
be,
Yes.
Yeah.
approved tonight.
That's fine.
Because remember, the only people that can do a pending is the state.
Right.
We cannot pend any licensure. We don't have that capacity or ability. The state can pend you based on what information they have in front of them.
Very good.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Thank you. Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 10.02, which is the resolution adopting the paper administration of Ohio State third grade language arts assessments and the alternative assessment for students with significant cognitive disabilities.
Yes, Madam President and Board, the kudos to the elementary school administrators. They recognize that our children may have another opportunity by taking the Ohio State third grade language arts assessment as a paper initiative and not necessarily as a technology. And it would give kids more opportunities to be able to scan, to look carefully, go back, assess answers. When they're using it, when they're working on it through the Chromebooks, going back is difficult. So Mrs. Martin and Mr. Holman mentioned to the Teaching and Learning Department that they would like for the board to adopt this as an opportunity for third graders to get another advancement on this test. But this is for students with significant cognitive disabilities and not just for a random use of doing paper as opposed to technology. Any advantage that we could give our kids, we should do that.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion would be in order to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution adopting paper administration of Ohio State third grade language arts assessment and the alternative assessment for students with significant cognitive disabilities.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions for discussion? I'd just like to say, I think that there are students that do better with pencil and paper. I like technology. Sometimes technology doesn't like me back, but I do like technology. But it's really, sometimes that little clock ticking on the bottom of the screen can be very
Absolutely.
intimidating
Yeah.
for some students as they go to test. And so I think that this is I'm glad that there was somebody that was forward-thinking that said, some students need to go back and use the paper and pencil.
And even our organization, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, they have a online test, but you can opt for the pencil paper test.
Right.
Because students are saying, or people that are trying to get their licenses, this clock ticking telling me how many more that if I miss two more, I'm done,
Right.
is absolutely a deterrent to my work.
It can be intimidating.
Yes.
Will we have the opportunity over the next few years to assess the,
Impact.
and will you report back to the board?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, so this assessment or this alternative is only for individuals that have significant cognitive?
No, it's actually, it's an alternate assessment for students, but also for students with significant cognitive ability.
Oh,
So,
so it's
yeah,
other- okay.
yeah,
Both,
I don't want the board to think it's just for those kids who have cognitive issues.
Okay.
It's for other students. It says, I have some apprehension about this.
Oh, okay, that's
Yes.
good.
Because I think that would be unfair to those students as well.
Right. I agree. Okay, thank you, Board. If there's no other questions or discussion, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie? Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 10.03, still under Mr. Smith for the recommendation for the summer school programs.
Yeah, I'd like to have Dr. Ragland to come up because Dr. Ragland was able to see some discrepancies in the language part of the program where we wrote those for options, where for some kids, we're not saying that they're options. We're saying, well, you know. Yeah.
So no, they're not options. So we want our students to be taught and learn the standards that they may not have learned during the school year. And so every one of those programs, third grade reading guarantee, even our science program, we are looking at teaching standards. Intro to algebra, we're focused on algebra standards. Algebra 1, definitely focused on algebra standards.
So when it was written before, it was written as you can come if you want. And now it's written, you should have already been identified by your teachers, which you have, because if this is an intro to Algebra 1 and you have 3 more maths to go after that, you need to be more in tune with what the standards are and be better prepared. We're not interested in our students earning D's in mathematical content. We're interested in our students. Dr. Ragland has proposed a new language, not just an intro, but a mastery of the course.
So those students in the introduction to Algebra 1, they will be introduced. But they will be introduced in terms of what are the critical focus areas that they need to help them to be successful when they take the actual class during their freshman year.
And finally, it gets our students away from, sometimes you have students in a summer program and they say, I've had this before. The fact is, they probably did have it before. The question is, did you master it? So Dr. Ragland and her team are working on some other essentials where it will be students mastering the standards that they did not understand during the course of the year. Everybody in this room knows that it is very difficult to teach an Algebra 1 course, a full course in a summer school, when you definitely didn't get it during the fall. So it's going to concentrate and be replicated based on the standards. Where are the standards and where are your deficiencies in order to help you become a better qualified student in the area of mathematics?
Very good. Board, a motion will be in order.
Madam President, I'll make a motion to approve the summer school program as presented.
I'll second.
Are there any questions for discussion?
So I do have a question. So we talked about the math. What specifically, like I see that students, they'll have an opportunity to home in on their reading to
Yes,
improve
for
their
third
reading,
grade.
and then you give the test during the summer.
Correct.
Will that if they pass, that will give them an opportunity to
Yes.
move forward? Okay.
Yes.
Good question.
How many students do you expect or that are enrolled yet in the summer program?
For which program?
All of them?
So-
Or in general, how many
So
students?
we are in the process of enrolling students now.
Okay.
And it varies from year to year. I think our average over the last 3 years for third grade is around 80. And we do successfully prepare the vast majority of those students. It varies according to, of course, with Algebra 1, unfortunately, not credit recovery, those are credit recovery classes. And so, unfortunately, it depends on students who have taken and not successfully passed those courses. We would like for those numbers to be small every year. But in the event that they need those courses, that's what they prepare them for, to be successful.
In addition to that, Ms. Cohn, if we can see, especially in an 8th grade intro course, we see that the student is going to get a D out of the course. It's more of an encouragement. Come back and take this and become a stronger student, even if it's a student who's going to graduate or transition on after Algebra 1 as a 9th grader. You're going to get a low grade in this course. And one of the things that we are starting to work diligently on is not just the grades and the credit, we have to worry about the GPA. So putting all those pieces together, it's not just a one-time deal. Because if you receive 4 Ds in 4 math, strong content, your GPA is already in trouble.
This is just a question, just from your vantage point. How do the students, how receptive are they to knowing that they have to go in the summer? You know,
I haven't met a student who wants to be in school
Right.
during the summer.
How
I
do you
don't
get
think,
around?
I don't think that's any student's first choice in terms of place to be, with the exception of Sean Dark's science program. Those students definitely want to be there.
Is there a cost associated with some of these programs,
No.
or all of them are free?
No, they are all free.
Even the science camp?
Even the science camp.
Oh, that's interesting. That's nice. I mean, it is, because science camp is like fun.
Yes.
I still love science camp.
If a student improves their grade, does their grade in the summer have any impact on their GPA?
It will have some impact with the GPA, but that grade is not replaced as a grade. It will have some impact, but it doesn't get changed and a new grade comes in.
Both grades are averaged
Right.
into the GPA.
But it will be on their transcript.
Yes.
So they'll be able to say, I didn't do well, but I mastered it.
There you go.
Yes,
Right, so the intro to algebra is important though, so they do pass Algebra 1
exactly.
by the time they get to the high school level.
That's the whole objective.
It's a preventive measure. We want to make them stronger.
Well, kudos
We found
to
out
them.
that students that struggle in Algebra 1, higher incidence of discipline in that particular content, and higher incident of attendance issues.
Well, it actually helps because, you know, as we're looking at forecasting and looking at how do we support academics and learning, we also have to make sure that we are focusing on, you know, we do enrichment, we also
Yes.
do intervention, and making sure that we have the supports for those students, like Ms. Kuhn was saying, you know, to get them together such that the goal is for them to be successful in the class, so.
I do have one other question. The summer program with the intro to algebra, would that be taught in a project-based format, or will it be a more traditional?
And so it will be a hybrid of both. So we will focus on skills as well as PBL. It will be taught by our middle school geometry teacher, who is secondary licensed.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Ragland. That's all very informative. Board, are there any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Ragland. That was very informative. The next item on our agenda is 11.01, which is the Board of Education reports and the legislative report. And Mrs. Kuhn, you have the floor.
I shared with you information that Mr. Smith passes along that's very, very helpful. It's rather lengthy, so I didn't print it out, so I forwarded it in form of an email to all of you to review. And Dr. Johnson and I were looking at some things that we thought were important, but one thing that I thought that stood out to me was that the legislature is taking, they're investigating the efficacy of our state-issued report cards and how it's perceived by communities, how it's received by communities. And I'm hoping that they're figuring out ways to make it better, which is why they might be taking testimony. Because basically, the school administrators and district officials are telling lawmakers that the public has lost faith in state report card system, and it's definitely in need of an overview and an overhaul. So I thought that was an important piece. It's not necessarily legislative piece of information right now, but it's something forthcoming. I thought it was important. I think you had some thoughts too, Dr.
Well,
Johnson.
I went to the legislative breakfast, and one of the things that came out is, as far as the way the testing goes, it almost is set up as a kind of I got you, instead of really an assessment of the students that are in the chairs and their skills and their knowledge. So that was the superintendents that were around the table, that was their biggest complaint, and how it didn't necessarily measure you know, what the knowledge that the students actually had. So they all were expressing that to Representative Cecil Thomas. He was in the legislative meeting, so just that.
And not that we're shirking our responsibilities of providing high education, but it is important to have it measured in a reasonable way that the public can understand and really fully appreciate, so.
And also a reasonable way that assess knowledge, you know, and not just, I don't want to say, there were some that were like, these tests are not, you know, measuring the right thing, so.
And just to add that this issue is becoming a bigger issue across the state, because with the Black Caucus, the OSBA Black Caucus, that's a hot topic, in making sure that certain urban districts or certain districts that have high minority populations are being appropriately represented through these tests, and what it could do. I mean, the state report card, and how, you know, it could make the community look at certain school districts when there's definitely some inequities in the state report card. And also, we have, you know, the urban network. It's what's his name, Paulo DeMario? Yes. The state superintendent will be there so that we can talk about some of the school takeovers and bring some of those issues up to help school districts be able to build relationships with communities, and making sure that they understand how students are assessed, and, you know, anyways.
Well, and just to build on that too, it's socioeconomic, I think, is a bigger factor all throughout the state, which is very disproportionately represented, with very wealthy districts performing higher. And it's just an interesting observation, and it's something I think it's worthy of exploring. So it crosses all boundaries throughout the state and is important for review. So I thought that was important that we bring up to the board.
And to be clear, it's not about, you know, shirking our responsibilities. Sure. I think everybody here, the teachers, the administrators, understand that student achievement is our core business. It's what we're here for. However, let's make sure that it's a fair assessment.
Sure.
The only other thing that was kind of a hot button for all the superintendents was, as Randy had mentioned, the Cup Patterson and the state funding. And you'll just have to read up on that. It's very thick and somewhat complicated, but just to know that it's on hold. And it's not just on hold for this district, it's on hold for all the districts in the state of Ohio. So just as we voted tonight to try to, you know, work around that, hopefully other districts are doing somewhat of the same. So
Sure.
that was another hot spot for the legislature. Anything else, Mrs. Kuhn?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mrs. Kuhn. The next item is 11.01, Great Oaks Technical Report. Mr. Birdie, you have the floor.
Yeah, I passed out some information to each one of you. We hit, one of our board members on the Great Oaks School Board, Sue Steele, passed away on May 2nd. She was a Goshen Local School Board member, as well as a Great Oaks School Board member. And I had the pleasure of serving with Sue on HR and administration committees, as well as most recently on a salary committee with her. And she was a true advocate for public education, for career tech education, and I know she will be deeply missed by the Goshen School Board, as well as the Great Oaks School Board. So my thoughts and prayers go out to her family, as well as her friends and people that knew her. In addition to that, I gave you some information about some opportunity occupations within the state and what kind of compensation there is available for people that maybe aren't, for our students who aren't getting bachelor's degrees but are going through the technical education portion of their lives, and there's some opportunities there for, you know, students to do very well. And then in addition to that, last page is we had one student, Shia Hawker, in construction, framing, and finishing, who was recognized as the student of the quarter for the fourth quarter for Scarlet Oaks. And that concludes my report.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Quinn. Very informative. I appreciate your service to that board.
Sometimes more than one.
Okay, the next item agenda is 12.01, board motions and recommendations, and I don't have any. Does anybody else have any?
I do not.
I do not, I do not. All right, so let's just move on to this last item, which is 13.01, which is comments from the Board of Education Superintendent and Treasurer. Treasurer Seymour, do you have anything you'd like to add with this right tonight?
I don't think so, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith, Superintendent, do you have anything that you would
No,
like
I'm
to?
excited about tomorrow at 7:30 sharp.
So get there early to get a parking spot, though, right?
Early, not too early.
Not too early.
Yeah, they're early.
Yeah, because there's another one before us.
Right before us, yeah.
Yeah, I did that last year. You get there too early and you just kind of gotta circle the lot and wait for them to come out, so. All right, Mrs. Kuhn, you have anything?
Again, congratulations to our seniors who will be going off to do great things in the world. We appreciate their dedication to their education throughout all these years, and we salute their efforts. So that's the main, and all of our students' efforts throughout this year and as they go from year to year. So we appreciate our students and our teachers.
I'm sorry, Dr. Johnson, I do have one more.
All right.
Drive up and down Winton Road as many times as
Yes.
you can.
All the
Flags are amazing.
All the
those
flags are
ribbons, yeah,
flying.
those ribbons are
Yeah,
nice.
those
Yeah.
ribbons are amazing. Seem like they're stretching further and further. I'm like, how did
They were.
Yeah,
There's a
off
lot.
into that next district, I
Yeah,
don't know.
almost, like, keep going.
And well, and thank you to the members that continue to do that every
Make
year too.
those,
Yeah,
yes.
that's very,
That is
very helpful.
volunteers.
Incredible work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mr. Birdie?
Just real quickly, thank you for the facilities update. I think it's important the community knows things are on time and on budget. You know, at this point, that's great news. Looking forward to graduation tomorrow night. The honors diploma dinner was fantastic, as well as the senior recognition last week. I also got to go to the Scarlet Oak senior ceremony last week, so that was a good time seeing our students recognized at that. And talking about nutrition as the mission bus, I don't think people actually think about that on a regular basis, that children that are dependent upon school to get meals during the school year don't necessarily have some place to go, you know, during the summertime. So that's a wonderful thing that this school district is tackling and helping to solve. So thank you.
All right, Dr. Cupoletti?
I had the good fortune of attending a number of celebrations of our students. I was very impressed with the accomplishments of our students, and I was very impressed by the ceremonies themselves that allowed for recognition of excellence in all of our students, and also that it gave everyone a chance to aspire to something better when they saw their peers doing better. And so I really encourage that. I was really impressed by it. And several occasions, I got tears in my eyes thinking of the accomplishments of the young people. So congratulations on some great ceremonies.
Thank you, Dr. Cupoletti. Mrs. Ruggles?
I think I'm just grateful. I'm very grateful because we often talk about creating opportunities for students, but you know, I feel very grateful to be able to have the opportunity to give back. And as I reflect on the last month or so, participating in the panel, as well as being able to speak to the girls, in Girls to Queens and the Boys to Kings event, and also, you know, the work that have been done with Mercy Health, and see it actually come to fruition at the Senior Night Awards, where they gave a $10,000 scholarship. And that is just, it just makes me feel grateful to be in a position to help make those things happen for our students. So, yeah, that's it.
Very good, thank you. I was just thinking, as I was getting ready for this board meeting, you know, being a teacher myself, and my school year has ended and I'm in my summer break, although I'm still teaching a class, that for the teachers, they're coming up on their last day and how anxious they must be getting. And I've been teaching for 29 years, but honestly, we're just as anxious when it's over. And the same thing happens at the beginning of the school year. You get these butterflies like you haven't done this for 20 years, you know, or over 20 years. But just to say to the teachers and to the administrators that, you know, serve our students and serve our district, we really appreciate the work that you do. We appreciate the knowledge that you pour into our students, and that you do it with integrity. And it's not easy to do project-based learning and to, you know, couple up different classes and to pull them together. But you guys do it, and you do it very well, and we just appreciate you for that. I'm gonna try to come out and support the softball, team. I can't play, but I can cheer, so I'll come out and cheer on the 23rd. The last day, of course, for the students is the 23rd. The last day for the teachers is the 24th. And, of course, we are gonna be excited for graduation. But I just as a teacher, professor myself, and just reflecting, I know that we kind of get anxious to get this last day, and it's the same anxious energy when it's like the first day. So I don't know. When you lose that, you kind of lose. It's time for you to retire, I guess. But anyway, I just want you all to know that we really, really do appreciate what you do for our district. May was a busy, busy month. We promised it in April. Watch out, May is coming. It is coming to a close, but there's still, Mr. Smith listed some things earlier that we should pay attention to. And those are listed on our website too, on the calendar. So if you just want to go to the website and click on the calendar, you can see all the things that we have left for May and June. There's some things in June too. So anyway, with that said, Board, I do not think we have a need for an executive session tonight. Right? We're clear? No executive session. Okay, so with that said, that brings this meeting to a close. And we want to thank the Waycross community for your service in videotaping tonight's meeting. And I'd like to call this meeting of the Winton Woods City School Board of Education regular meeting on Monday, May the 20th, 2019 adjourned. Thank you. Stay safe. Have a great summer.